The barking stork wants to know, what do we call with when we are in the small blind and we have about 3 big blinds behind? This is something that will happen, especially in a hyper turbo like this, because you tend to be short stacked a lot. So let's talk about the two most important things you need to think about and then how you can use those to your advantage. So number one thing you want to think about when you are this short is you want to consider if this is a bubble situation or if you have some extremely good chance of making the money in this game where you just happen to be this short stack. In this particular game where 2 people are cashing in this hyper turbo, no, you're not close to making the money, so that's not going to come into play here. Now, the second thing you want to think about is just based on the stacks, like what is your ranking? Does your 3 big blind stack represent a stack size that's actually doing fairly well in this game? For example, I'm sure you've all played some games where the blinds get huge and everybody happens to be short stacked, and your 3 big blinds is like a second place stack or something like that because the chip leader only has 5 big blinds. In this example, it's important to notice that you are in last place. And so when those 2 factors are met, what you're going to be left with is a situation where you can call wider than you might normally do in a situation like this. So I would recommend, as a default, you can go something like ace-8, you can go something like 5s or 6s, maybe king-queen, and then you can extend that wider based on what you think the shover's range is. So do we think he's loose or tight based on how he enters this pot? Well, considering he's shoving a large stack and not everybody is like extremely short stack, it kind of looks like he has a reasonable range here, like a decent type of a hand. So I would just go with that ace-8 and the 5s and 6s and the king-queen. Now, if for some reason this was a situation where you thought the shover was on a very, very wide range and those 2 conditions were met where you're in last place with your short stack, you're not close to the money, stuff like that, then you can start to call wider and go any ace, maybe king jack, maybe king 10, queen jack suited, things where you think, yeah, I'm probably ahead of that guy because he's got a wide range. And so those are the things that you would want to think about. And this is a pretty advanced idea here because you have to adjust your range based on the shover and think of these things that I mentioned. But the good news is it's only 2 minutes to learn. So rewind it, watch it again, and you'll get this idea in no time. You can take some notes on the side of your screen if you want to remember it forever. Click that light bulb button if you want to save it, and this should help next time you come up with a situation where you have 3 big blinds and you are in the small blind. Hope it helps, everybody.